This video and its content has been rated G for general audiences, exported by LumaFusion, published to YouTube, and has been given the annual support from viewers like you.
Thomas the Tank Engine's rolling along. All of his friends will be coming along. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you.
There's a Wales Extravaganza event, and all the narrow gauge engines are going to represent themselves as all their siblings from the Skarloey Railway.
The Skarloey Railway is the second most popular narrow gauge railway in the UK and world, compared to Tallyclin being the first, and the Festiniog and Corus railways. However, it is located on Sodor instead of Wales. All the narrow gauge engines were very excited. There was going to be a Wales Extravaganza event by the end of the summer, which had been an every year thing since 2021, with a couple engines disguised as their siblings in Wales. All the engines worked hard while preparations were made and tickets were sold. However, one morning, Skarloey was having some personal thoughts, feeling both sad and bored. Just then, he saw his best friend Reneus backing up next to him. He had just got back from delivering some stone from the Blue Mountain Quarry to the wharf. Hello, Skarloey.
Hello, Reneus.
Not this again. I told you, my name is Reneus.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm getting too old to remember.
Anyways, what are you doing here?
Well, my next passenger train isn't due until this afternoon.
Skarloey was to take some rail fans and tourists to Ulfstead Castle, where Millie worked, as well as Duke, who had been working at the castle since everyone's favorite year, 2020. A rather depressing one at that. But Skarloey's reason of sorrow was going to be different. What's wrong, Skarloey? You seem a bit deep in thought. Is everything alright?
Oh, yes, I'm fine. It's just that I've been deep in thought about my age lately.
And?
Well, I've been feeling a bit bored with life. Things have changed over the years, but it's not the same as the old days. I've been working on this railway for as long as I can remember. I'm older than any human ever will be. There have been many changes in my lifetime, some bad, some good. I'm really thankful to be preserved and in good steam on my railway. But when you live as long as me in the same place, it just gets a bit meaningless after a while, which leads up to another desire. Traveling to new places and seeing more of the countryside just to get away from some of the same things. Think about those standard gauge engines who travel to the mainland.
Oh, well, if you had the option, where would you go?
Somewhere on the big land, maybe I'd travel to Wales, specifically the Corus or Tallyclin railways. Tallyclin being the first option, as the last time I saw my brother was on our 150th birthday.
Or maybe you could move to the National Railway Museum for your retirement.
Or maybe you could be rusted away in the sheds like Sarando did twice back in 1986.
Let's not bring that up. Alright, you two, that's enough. Let some old friends talk here.
Ha!
Come on, Duncan. Now, Skarloey, I understand where you're coming from. I've had some of those thoughts myself in recent years, but what I try to do is be thankful for the railway I'm on, making sure our passengers, controller, and siblings are proud no matter where we are. Maybe one day you'll go outside of Sodor, but for now, be thankful of the world you live in, with a massive legacy through generations.
You're right. I am grateful for the railway I'm on, and because how useful I am. Thank you.
No problem, Skarloey. Now you go out there and prove there's still life in you yet. After all, if your wheels aren't whirring, you're not being a really useful engine.
Oi, that's my line. Ha ha ha. Even he's a bit cheeky.
That afternoon, Skarloey picked up his coaches and passengers. After leaving Crovan's Gate, he was happily running well with his passengers on their way to Ulfstead Castle. But as he was chuffing along the railway, he could have sworn he heard some knocking sounds.
Driver, what's that noise?
I don't know, old boy. Doesn't sound significant though.
Maybe it's something else entirely. But just in case, check me out when we get to the castle.
The knocking eventually subsided once they reached the lakeside station. The passengers got out to have tea and cakes for lunch, as well as refreshments from the coach. Peter, Sam, and Skarloey began chatting like old friends until the passengers were out. Skarloey turned around the turntable and then made his way to a wayside halt, where the passengers got out and walked up the hill towards the funicular railway. And after riding the cable cars back down, they got back into the coaches, and Skarloey left the lakeside loop for its final stop at Ulstead Castle. Skarloey puffed over the lake by the castle, and was now between the lakeside loop and the mountainside, when suddenly...
What the?
Skarloey stopped with a sudden jolt, as the driver got out to investigate.
Looks like you've cracked a piston nut.
And indeed, he had. The two locking screws on the nut which locked the right-hand piston place had come loose and fallen out. The nut had dropped in front of the cylinder, but the piston stayed in place, albeit badly bent.
Well, looks like we won't go anywhere until help arrives.
The driver then told the guard about the situation.
Sorry everyone, but due to an inconvenience, I'm afraid we're stuck here until another engine comes.
Well, this is just great. Where's Sir Robert's tea and cakes when you need them? What the frick? I've got machinery to stay there for uni.
We don't want to be late for the express to the mainland from the New York Stream, loiter.
Calm down everyone, I promise we'll get you to the castle. You can get out and stretch your legs if you'd like.
Well, there goes a good run.
Eventually, workmen arrived and set to work removing the old engine's side rods. Then he was moved to a siding out of the way. Skarloey felt very silly without his pistons, but there was worse to come.
Oi, here goes another engine. It's the blue one.
Out of all the engines, Sir Handel was the nearest to help.
Well, old faithful. Or should I say, old fart? What's this I hear about you busting a nut?
Ugh, put your side rods back on. You'll make it as people in the loo without them.
Shut up, Sir Handel. Your trailing wheels are made of steamrollers.
Why, I order. Alright, that's enough, you two. Sir Handel, I have to take Skarloey to the works, and the passengers are waiting. So go, now.
Ugh, fine. I'll just go to the castle and mess with Grandpuff instead.
Never mind, Skarloey. It wasn't your fault. At least passengers are now getting to their destinations. Besides, I remember Edward telling me he cracked a nut once. Now come on, let's get you to the works. Skarloey was coupled up to Rusty, and they backtracked all the way to the Steamworks at Crovan's Gate. Rusty dropped him off while Victor and the workmen examined Skarloey's bare wheels. However, there was even worse news to come when Mr. Percival arrived.
How is he, Victor?
Well, to put it this way, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that we've examined him, and we know what needs to be done to repair him. New driver's side rods, new crank pins, and a new piston rod are going to be needed. We may even need a new axle.
Well, that's good so far.
But the bad news is that, 1, we don't have a spare narrow gauge piston rod at the moment, and 2, we're already on a full plate right now. It could be quite some time before new piston rods are ordered.
Mr. Percival started panicking.
No! This can't be happening! I've already sold a lot of tickets to ride on all the engines, including Skarloey. He's one of the reasons why this railway exists in the first place. It doesn't feel right with just Reneus partaking. Oh dear, what to do?
He tried to think of a solution so that Skarloey could take part in the extravaganza.
Perhaps I could be of assistance?
Huh?
The voice was none other than Chief Engineer Mr. Hugh, who had just finished patrolling the line with his motor trolley bedstead.
Mr. Hugh, what are you doing here?
Well, I was just coming back and I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. How about we send him to another narrow gauge railway on the mainland? I remember doing some research about it on the internet and discovering that Skarloey's brother, Tally Clint, had some similar problems. When the ambitious workload was getting too much for his railway's workshop, they sent him by lorry to the Hestiny Hog Railway, where one of the diesels took him into the repair shed, and there was even some picture operations as well.
I haven't really done that before. Guess we could give it a run.
Splendid! We'll send him to Brendam Docks to be carried by ship, like Rex and Peter Sam Turn 100.
I'd rather not send him by ship this time due to how expensive it is. We'll have to send him to Wales by one of Sir Tom Hatt's standard gauge engines.
Sounds good to me. Which railway shall we send him to then?
Well, the Telephone Railway is busy overhauling his brother, and the Chorus Railway is currently busy constructing a new Falcon engine, so I guess Festiniog is our best option.
Alright then, I'll go contact the manager, Mr. Lewis, and make this possible.
I guess I've got a long journey ahead of me.
Indeed you do, my friend.
So Mr. Percival contacted Sir Tom Hab about the idea, and he was quick to agree. So he got to work making phone calls to both Vickerstown and the Search and Rescue Center. Skarloey had to wait a few days for preparations to be complete, but before he knew it, the day came where Mr. Percival had organized a special train for the mainland, and Skarloey was loaded onto a standard gauge flatbed by Rocky, who was between him and 2 red coaches, ready to be taken to the Festiniog Railway.
Well, last time I've been outside the island was when I was shipped here from the mainland to Brendan back in 2006. This is something exciting, but the most important thing is to make sure you're comfortable on this journey, Skarloey.
I'm perfectly comfortable. Thank you. We haven't even left yet.
But once we do, you'll get to see the mainland looks like by rail.
That sounds wonderful. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, Skarloey, we wish you the best of luck on your trip to Festiniog. Show the Welsh people what our railway is made of.
Many thanks, sir. I will.
Have a safe trip!
Say hello to my siblings when you get there.
Yeah, and the scrapyard.
Oi, shut up before Mr. Percival hears us. This is Matt Christopher, live at the Crovan's Gate engine shed, where a special train to the Festiniog Railway in Wales will be departing, along with the number 1 of the Skarloey Railway awaiting repairs. And with that, Henry, Skarloey, Rocky, and the passengers were off to the Festiniog Railway in Wales, following a chorus of whistles, horns, and the railway was a heart of gold. By now, Henry was making good progress as he puffed down the east of the main line. Skarloey was quite fascinated about his new surroundings.
I must say, you never get this on my railway.
Oh, trust me, there's always more to Sodor than what meets the eye.
Say, how far are we from my home?
About 50 miles. We're approaching my forest at this point.
Whoa, that's even farther than my sibling Teleland's railway. I'm loving it!
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Here he comes. Howdy, Henry.
Hello.
My goodness, I never had that many people whistling for me back in my day.
You must be really famous for your railway then.
You better brace yourself. We're almost at Vickerstown, and there's a huge amount of engines that work there.
And sure enough, when they got to the terminus at the east of the main line, a massive crowd of people and engines awaited as they thundered past. Now despite his shock, Skarloey humbly accepted everyone's greetings, even if some of them were a little much.
Yo, Scar, you just don't know when to quit working, do ya?
What? The train passed Vickerstown and went over the rolling bridge leading to the mainland. And if you're familiar with the UK's geography, then you know that between Vickerstown and Barrow-in-Furness is the Walney Channel.
Well, here we are, the mainland.
Look, there's Paxton from the Blue Mountain Quarry.
Oh, hello, Henry. Hello, Skarloey. What the? Skarloey? Have I been taking on the wrong fool?
Alright then, come on Skarloey, we've still got a long way to go.
And they did. It was a long journey, as they passed through many stations and places on the mainland. But finally, by the end of the afternoon, they had reached Blawnew Station, the terminus of the Festiniog Railway.
Phew, thank God I didn't travel to London back in 2021. This long journey was enough!
Never thought I'd be saying this since all I've been doing is sitting on this flatbed, but I feel exhausted too.
Well, at least we got you here safely. Speaking of which, from what I heard, another engine will be picking you up and escorting you to their workshops in one of their flatbeds.
Really? Who?
Just then, the 3 heard a whistle in the distance. It was one of the Festiniog classes, backing up next to them.
Greetings, my friend.
Palmerston!
The one and only famous engine. You must be Skarloey. I've heard all about you from Sodor.
And Duke's told me about you and the rest of his siblings as well.
How much I miss my brother. So tell me, how was your trip? You were quite famous on the news this morning.
Phew, I know. We had so many people and engines cheering my name as we went.
Well, you should consider yourself lucky that you have an amazing legacy. I bet a lot of young engines look up to you.
Well, this is a wonderful thing, but I do sometimes get teased for my age by engines like Duncan and Sir Handel.
Ugh, I hate how some engines can be. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. You are an incredible engine. You've lived over 150 years. You're the oldest surviving engine on Sodor. You're named after your railway. And you and Reneus are the reasons your railway is still afloat today. You'll have the years of experience that millions of people and engines wish they had. And overall, you're just an incredible old puffer. No insults or younger engines can ever take that away from you.
Wow! Thank you, Palmerston. That means a lot.
You're welcome, my dear engine. Now then, Upnor Castle's bringing the crane over, and I'll tow you to our workshop.
Sounds good to me.
I remember this forever, old faithful. You are a really useful engine.
Good luck, Skarloey!
Now, despite being narrow gauge, because of the different widths of track, Skarloey had to be placed onto another flatbed while the men fixed him up. He didn't mind though, for he was surrounded by Palmerston and the other engines as well, and they were all very friendly to him. Eventually, several weeks later, the day came when Skarloey was finally fixed up and transported back to Sodor, this time via James, and just in time before the Wales Extravaganza. Welcome back, Skarloey! So tell me, how was your trip to the Steamworks Railway?
Well, it was quite a remarkable experience, and I was intrigued by all the new surroundings, though I did miss the old times working here with you all.
Well, me and Bertram are glad the engines there had a wonderful visitor like you to keep them company, and I'm sure that if His Grace could see you now, he'd be proud of you.
We're sorry we teased you, Skarloey. I wish you got the same amount of greetings as you did.
There must be more to you than what meets the eye.
Maybe.
Your trip must have been amazing flying down the line on the mainland, where us narrow gauge engines can't go. I wish I could do that someday. Maybe you'll go on a trip like that one day, Sir Handel. Are you serious?
You never know, my friend. You never know.
But for now, let's just be glad that Skarloey's back in good working order. And as everyone cheered, whistled, and honked for their number one grandpa, Skarloey, despite the amazing journey, was very grateful to be happily working on a railway that he calls home. And as for Sir Handel's proposed future trip to the mainland, well, that's another story.
Thomas the Tank Engine's rolling along. All of his friends will be coming along. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you.
Have I seen that man somewhere before?